Sudbury was one of the first snowmobiling destinations I ever went to that was outside the area that I grew up riding in here in Eastern Ontario outside of Ottawa. Now since then, I've been back up to the region many times and always had an excellent experience. Last season, the crew of STV went back up to the Big Nickel to experience the hospitality and trails of Sudbury. With excellent trails and awesome places to stay and ride from, Sudbury is also the perfect place for a family adventure. It's not too far away. It's a big city in the north with all the amenities that come with a city over a small town. And there's Science North, which is the most popular tourist attraction in Northern Ontario and the perfect place to spend the day with the family when not riding the trails.
So this is a flying squirrel. This is a northern flying squirrel. Within Ontario, we actually have southern flying squirrels as well. So these guys are the ones that are found up here in Sudbury. And anywhere in Ontario where you have trees, you have flying squirrels. They are insanely common. Just as common as like red squirrels, chipmunks, that sort of stuff. These guys are everywhere, but they're nocturnal. So this here is Mickey. She is a snapping turtle. So she is the largest turtle species you can find here in Ontario. And the reason she's here at Science North is because she's blind. So if you have a close look at her face, you'll actually see she has no eyes. When that sort of thing happens, they often will contact us to see if we can take them in, and that's how a number of our animals do come to us. So up here we have Maple, our porcupine. She's pretty cool. She is sleeping right now because it is winter time. So this is a fox snake. So these guys are found here in Ontario, but unfortunately they are an endangered species, so you don't see them very often. So they are highly protected and not harmful to people. They're called fox snakes because if you scare them, biting isn't their go-to. Instead, they give off the scent of a fox. And if you've ever smelt a fox, they smell like skunks. So this guy just gets wicked stinky and then nothing wants to eat him.
That's cool. Oh, really? That's
yeah.
awesome. So what do people from outside the region not realize about Sudbury? They don't realize how vast of an area this is and how big of a town it is and how many different varying types of amenities we have here. There's so much up here. It's a big city, you know, it's a big city with a big population that, you know, a bunch of varying things that you can do. You can change it up if you don't want to snowmobile every day. You can bring the family. You can ice fish, you know, of thousands of lakes. So it's a very varying area of interest. Everybody likes something different, but everybody likes coming together and enjoying the outdoors.
Sudbury is also home to the Sportsman's Lodge Wilderness Resort on Kookagami Lake, which is one of my most favorite places to stay when on a snowmobiling getaway. Now this wooden lodge is absolutely loaded with character and makes for the perfect home base for a ride in the Sudbury area.
So I had searched for lodges for probably 15 years or better. I've looked at many of them, came across the Sportsman's Lodge, and I had stayed here in the past. I'm an avid snowmobiler, and the original lodge was built across the lake in the 30s from what I understand. It was a fly-in only lodge. The second facility, which is the one I bought here, was built around 1980. It has the tallest pine log structure in Ontario. We have over 70 beds here, and we can feed 50 to 70 people very easily in one sitting.
Accommodations at the Sportsman include breakfast and dinner in the central lodge, and their homemade meals are always the perfect bookend for a day on the trails. Lunch is also available if you're planning on staying close by the resort for the day. While at the Sportsman's, you can choose from individual rooms in the tower building or accommodations in the main lodge with fully serviced rooms and comfortable common area, which is also great for groups and families. With its wooden construction and welcoming atmosphere, the Sportsman's is one of those places you can come to again and again with family and friends and always feel that warm charm you only get with a true rustic wilderness lodge. Each time I've stayed here, I always leave wondering when I'll be able to get back again.
The people that come here and the camaraderie between snowmobilers is something that attracts me to this place. The first time I came here, this was probably the best snowmobile trip I've ever been on in my life. And whenever anybody's mentioning coming or going on a trip, I always brought up the Sportsman's Lodge. As a snowmobiler, you can go pretty much anywhere from here down into the Muskokas or Halliburton, up to Cochrane from here, Timmins, Shining Tree, yeah.
The trails around Sudbury are definitely a well-kept secret. With over 1,300 kilometers of trails crisscrossing the region, there's plenty of routes to create day loops of all distances depending on your group, or you can take the Sea Trail up and down a Shining Tree, which is one of my personal favorites. There's also plenty of services available along most routes and plenty of photo ops as well to stop at along the way to admire the rugged beauty of the Canadian Shield in this region.
The Sudbury Trail Plan is essentially the District 12 of the OFSC. We're comprised of 10 clubs. Each of those 10 clubs has about 20 volunteers, so we come together as a group to administer about 1,800 kilometers of trail throughout Sudbury, Espanola, and Manitoulin. It takes a lot of people to make this thing work. We have about 35 groomer operators and 13 groomers, and they run mostly 24/7 during the season, so it takes a lot of time and effort to keep them running, and it's really created a sense of family for me, like a belonging. You belong to a club or to a district, and they really take care of their own. And these trails don't make themselves, so we have hundreds of dedicated volunteers that each have their own little role, and we all come together in this endeavor to create snowmobile trails. And a lot of people don't realize that that's the kind of work it takes.
There's a lot of work that goes into maintaining our trails, but however, when winter comes and we see people out there enjoying themselves, it really makes we appreciate what we do for our community. And I know people appreciate what we do as well because we hear it all the time.
So the great thing about being in Northern Ontario is that all 4 seasons are a joy for the Northerners, and we really take part in snowmobiling and all of the winter activities. We don't hibernate, we get out there and enjoy and participate in snowmobiling and the beauty of the North.
With its lakes and elevation changes, Sudbury has everything you're looking for in a snowmobile ride. Now, Sudbury is not only Northern Ontario's largest city, it's also a snowmobiler's paradise in winter.